Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the MetaLife call, and my name's Connie Banford, and glad you're here. Whoever invited you to this call, obviously they're in the know, and you're connected to those people, so we're glad that you're able to join us because it's going to be a casual conversation. We're going to be talking about mind and body connection tonight and how to establish it. So one thing is for sure, that's an exciting time right now because, the philosophy embraced by those involved in the MetaLife, there's a lot of growth happening because of all of the philosophy, and people just want to change their life. They're ready. So real quickly, before I bring up the two speakers, I just wanted to mention that, one of the things that is what we are in MetaLife. We're a collection of committed coaches and business partners and putting together a systematic and reliable approach to what we call MetaLife. And Meta, for those of you who are new to the call, Meta means above and beyond the ordinary. So that's what we are, a bunch of folks that are above and beyond the ordinary. We do embrace three pillars. It's a three-pillar approach. Encompassing mind, body, and lifestyle. And we have two speakers tonight that are embracing all of those pillars each and every day and have for many years. The two folks I want to introduce, one gentleman is Earl Mann. He's the CEO of Alpha Loop, and that's a technology company, but he has for years and years, he has had a personal philosophy of always embracing mind, body, and lifestyle. And all of that he has lived day in and day out. And the other gentleman that is going to be contributing to this call, Randy Mitchell. He is the founder of Avar Systems, and he's a consultant to many multi-level marketing companies throughout the world, and the top ones at least. And you're going to hear a lot of what he's going to contribute in the way of training. He trains many people, has a lot of personal clients and corporate clients. And so we've got some good things in store. So without further ado, I want to bring up Earl Mann and Randy Mitchell.
Well, thank you, Connie. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Welcome. And I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's MetaLife call, and Connie nailed it on the head. This is a call designed for people that aspire and desire to have a meta life, and meta being beyond, above and beyond the ordinary. So, Coach Mitchell, you're on loud and clear, aren't you?
I am, sir. Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. So we look like we're ready to go. So guys, what we want to do tonight is spend just a few minutes tonight, a little bit of time, and we want to talk about something that through both of our life experiences and education, we have found is a very powerful understanding or philosophy. So these are going to be some ideas that we're going to encourage you to consider or embrace, if you will. And this is this idea, notion around a body-mind connection. And for the sake of this call, I think I'm going to try to just put some definitions around a couple of things so that we can just make a conversation really easy for you guys to consume. So, we're going to talk about how to connect your inside world to your outside world. So that we're going to simplify it a little, make it the body-mind connection is going to be a metaphor that we're using to help you understand why it's potentially so powerful for you to really establish a strong connection between your inside world and your outside world. And that's going to translate really nicely into what most people know and come to understand as connecting the body and the mind. So on the inside world, we're going to talk about the things that, like your thoughts and emotions and feelings and beliefs and things like that. And that's on the outside world will be things that you can perceive with your five senses, things that you can actually touch, see, taste, hear, or smell. So that's a very simple definition. And we hear all the time, there's a plethora of information, and that'll be my $10 word for the night there, Coach Mitchell. But there'll be a plethora of information out there. There's a plethora of information out there on the internet around this notion that it's a powerful thing that everybody, you need to try to have a body-mind connection, body, mind, spirit. A lot of people talk about the idea, but what we're going to try to give you tonight is just some practical reasons why it is a very powerful tool for you to employ in your life and in your direction and in your activity right now. So maybe the first thing we'll do, Coach Mitch, is how about let's just have a quick conversation around some things we have come to learn or know, or let's just split the conversation up just like I kind of set it up, and let's talk about the mind first, the inside conversation, the inner world first. So, what are some things that you see people that are, have committed to changing their life, right? Committed to whatever that means in their world, by their own definition. What are some of the most common things you see they struggle with or have challenges with on the inside world?
Well, I got to tell you, man, this is so amazing. I'm glad that we're covering this topic tonight, because the major thing that I spend most of my time with clients, and these are clients that are making mega dollars as well as those who are struggling a little bit, and that is controlling that internal conversation, right? It's that internal conversation that goes on within our own minds that dictates what we do or don't do. And it's amazing to me how quickly we can talk ourselves out of something. And this is the advantage of having a meta mindset, right? Because when you look at a meta mindset, it's more of and I'm glad that the people that we work with are entrepreneurs, because truly a meta mindset is an entrepreneurial mindset. Right?
I agree with that.
One that's really goes beyond the ordinary, right? Because an ordinary mindset is a mindset that says, you know what, I'm going to continue to work for somebody else, right, and make them wealthy. I'm going to allow their kids to go to the schools they want to go to. I'm going to do all the things for them, but I'm not going to do it for myself. That's what people with that ordinary mindset that are having an internal conversation, but they're not enough. They're having an internal conversation of fear that they can't do certain things. They have an internal conversation of fear of rejection or whatever it might be that's keeping them away from really accessing their unique gifts and talents and putting themselves in a position to experience what it would be like to have a meta mindset. And then we make all these excuses up in our minds about why we can't leave our jobs and so forth and so on. But here's the interesting thing. This is September, right? And September for me, man, it's like a lot of things start to happen. Right? I'm not into sports, but you can see the energy start to change because people are on football, blah, 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 all that stuff is happening. But for me, what starts to happen is that all the kids are back to school and people are now engaging, okay, so what am I going to do? I got some time now. I have some things that I really want to do. And the advantage of having a meta mindset is you start to look like that entrepreneur, because Earl, one of the things that we talk about, and we talk about all the time, and this is not a political conversation, so I'm not talking about whether somebody's on the left or the right, Democrat or Republican, liberal. I don't really care. Because here's what I know is the reality, that the middle class is disappearing. There is no middle class anymore. You're either rich or poor, which reminds me more of a mindset, Earl, where either you're excellent or you're mediocre. Right? So many people think the opposite of success is failure. Right? But the opposite of success is not failure. The opposite of success is mediocrity.
Wow.
That's the opposite of success.
No, that is really
That is the opposite of success. So what we're talking about doing is being able to work with people to really move past those things that stop that ordinary mindset and to have the systems, the resources, right, to be driven by your passion, be focused on your vision, know what your intentions are, be clear. You know, it's like that's why I love working with you, because you're clear, you're focused. You know, even when I get your Instagram things at, 6 o'clock in the morning, talking about, okay, I got it done, but those are the things that inspire, right, that put forth. It's like, you're walking your talk. And I think that's so much a part of having that meta mindset.
Well, you hit on some very powerful and very, very valuable concepts if people really slow their life down and listen to what you said and take that to heart, take that in. And I would wonder, Coach Mitchell, how many people, if they were to sit down, tonight, even after this call, and ask themselves, okay, what about my mindset is not mediocre? I mean, or, because a lot of times, people say they want to do these big things and they say they want these big things and go to these big places and do these great things for other people and all of that other stuff. But it would be interesting for them to do a little inventory to say, okay, what about the way I think is different than the way most people think? And that might be a good place for some people to start to grapple with some of the ideas you said, because you're right, man. Fear is a very common thing that we all deal with, right? We all deal with fear in a lot of different ways. And you know what? I think that was such a powerful inside conversation that we're going to translate over to the outside world now. And just to help people understand what we mean by making a connection. Because you talked a lot about controlling that inner conversation. You talked a lot about the challenges. We talked about the need to be different. But, if you gave a great example about the changing economy and what that means. And here's the interesting thing about it. It means to people what they say it means, right? Because there are going to be people that flourish in this economy.
Yes,
there are going to be people
absolutely.
that are crushed in this economy. And both of those people, the ones that flourish and the ones that crush, are going to be under the same administration. They're going to be under the same politics. They're going to deal with the same society. We all have challenges in our own personal lives. Timing is never good timing. And I could just go down this whole long, long list of things that don't actually matter. Because none of those things are going to ultimately matter between those two different types of people. The difference is going to be, what do people think this timing means to them,
yes.
right?
Exactly.
So this is what we mean, people, when we say a body-mind connection. So I'm gonna start off this other part and then transfer it back to you, Coach Mitchell. But just to stay in the theme that we're really drilling down on. I love the way that you did that, because you made a very specific example that I think 300 million people in this country could identify with right now. The inner conversation that's created by their perception and understanding of what's happening in the economy. And I can tell you that what a lot of people would write down on a list, a lot of people would write down things that sound like fear, uncertainty, doubt, mistrust, anger, all kind of things. They would write down a lot of those things. But I will go ahead and take a meta stance and say that what they're doing is summarizing a concept called lack of control. What they're doing is summarizing this feeling they have that they do not have control. Now, they're going to express that as anger or fear or uncertainty or whatever's on that list. But what they're expressing is, I don't feel good because I do not have control. So, Coach Mitchell, talk about, when we have a purposeful life and we have an organized and an expressed direction we take, and we organize the people that see that same direction and support us, talk about the impact that has on your perception of control.
Oh, man. You know what? I could not agree with you more, because this is really what it comes down to, what you just said, right? Is that it's really, really defining that passion, defining that purpose. And always, in my opinion, because those fears are going to come up, right? But it's what we do with them and how we challenge them, right? I have something that I work with my clients and myself all the time, right? It's called ACT, because you have to be in action. I call it ACT. And the A is for acknowledge. So if there's a fear of something that comes up, I'll acknowledge it. I'll say, wow, isn't that interesting, man? This is going on. Let me see what this is. And then I go to the C, which means I'll challenge it, right? Like, okay, so how could that be true? So I challenge whatever is in front of me. I challenge it to see what it is. And then I make a commitment to myself to live that meta life, and I transform it. I transform it, Earl, into what I want it to be, right? Because I'm in control of my beliefs, right? A belief is nothing more than a thought that you keep thinking, right? So if I have control over that belief, I can either have non-certain beliefs or I can have certain beliefs. That doesn't mean, again, that those conflicts won't arise. But when they arise, I challenge them and I take them straight on. And I think, oh, okay, this is cool. This is great. So this gives me the opportunity to tap back into where is that point? Where's that point that allows me to control the noise on the outside world? And that point for me, Earl, is when I'm on point, when I'm on purpose, when I'm lined up with my passion, when that why that me and you talk about all the time, right? But I'm not talking about the ordinary why. I'm talking about the meta why. I'm talking about that why that goes so deep that it gets you to do what you haven't done before, right? That why that's so powerful that it actually blows past any fear. So I don't care about the ordinary why that you'll get on many calls and people talk about, what's your why? What's your why? I don't care about that ordinary crap. I'm talking about the meta why. That meta why that does what it does to you, right? That has you up, is, you know, walking up and down stairs, sending out Instagrams at 6 in the morning, talking about you got it done. And I'm feeling like I'm slacking because it's 6:30 and I'm just getting to the gym, right? So it's those meta whys that move you past those ordinary things that allows you to control that outside environment, and having something that allows you to look at immediately what's going on. Because the amazing thing to me is that we all can feel when something's happened to us. We can feel when our moods are shifting and changing, and if I'm not filled with energy. So at that point, instead of letting that happen, say, yo, what's going on? What's happening? Do the act. Acknowledge, challenge, transform.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And you know, we might even have to have a whole nother call on that last concept you talked about, what it means when we feel something, because a lot of people seem to think that their day is driven by how they feel, but they don't understand that they feel is just a reflection of what they think. So a lot of people start at this equation halfway in it, and that might be making a mental note that we take that on as a concept on one of these Meta Life calls, but that's a very powerful thing. So guys, I want to give you an example of how we tie all these things together in this movement. If you're in this call, you're a part of the Meta Life Challenge, the Meta Life movement, and we relate that specifically on this call to people that are building, their health, their wealth, and their bodies through the New Earth as a vehicle. So I want to show you how nicely this ties together for us specifically. So we just talked about the value of a body-mind connection. We just talked about the power that can tap you into and how you can apply that to dramatically change your direction. But we have a product, actually, that's specifically designed to enhance the body-mind connection, and it's BioAgile. And the brain is we all know how important the brain is to our existence, to what makes us, a superior life form on the planet and all that other stuff. And it's just very hard. The body's very selective. I'll just put it that way. Very selective in what it lets affect the brain. So BioAgile is actually, because it's built around Earth's first foods, these very ancient and primary foods, it actually crosses what's known as the blood-brain barrier and it feeds the brain directly. And the result of that is a change in your ability in the physical world. The body, we're talking about reaction time. So when we talk about, is it possible, is this just a metaphor, this body-mind connection? Is it a metaphor? Well, yes, it's a metaphor we're using to help you put a methodology, a method, a mode, a modality around a practical philosophy that you can apply in your life and change it. But it's also a real thing. It's also a real thing in the physical world. Now, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because, so we have a product that helps with your brain activity and your acuity and all things that are very, very positive. But what I want to talk about now is in the physical world, Coach Mitchell, what I find a lot of time is people look around in their physical world and they take in information from their five senses, and because it doesn't match up, what I mean by that is what you see around you right now gives you no indication that you're going down the right way to be this grand person you want to be in your life. What you smell, what you taste, what you hear, what you sense right now, by those first five senses, is very few people that can make the connection between who they are and where they are now and clearly know that you can make the leap or the jump or the step into this different world, this different reality, this different picture of yourself that you have. Now, one of the things that I find that's very useful in helping you bridge this very seldomly bridged gap. Remember, this is a Meta Life call. We're not talking about ordinary people. We're not talking about what average people do. We're trying to get insight into what some extraordinary people do. And what they find a way to do is make their decisions in today, into moment, not 100% driven by what they see and feel and understand in the moment, but by something else. That something else is what Coach Mitchell talks about being your vision, your clear destination, what you are committed to, what you are working towards. You have to see that with the exact clarity, like you see the wall in front of your face, in the physical world. Because when you do that, when you can see your vision with that clarity and you can make decisions based upon what you see, you are no longer a slave to your environment. You are no longer a slave to the moment. Your destination is beyond where you are. And the point I wanted to make about the little product tie-in I gave is creating evidence in the real world is a simple way for anybody to start to build their belief that they can get beyond where they are. And all I simply mean by that is, you know, are you tracking your activity? Are you having a conversation with other people? Are you taking in material? Are you physically moving things around in your world that represent you moving forward? That's something I always see. Coach Mitchell, this is funny, but I always see people that say they want to do these grand things, but when you look at them and you listen to them and you watch them, there's no evidence of that being real, other than the words they say. Would you say that that's a common observation?
That is the absolute truth, man. It's like people talk about what they want, but very rarely take the necessary action.
100%. And if you could just find a way on these calls and through these insights and things we share to start to do the little things, the big things not only become more probable, at some point the accumulation of these little things make the big things a certainty. I'm going to end this up before I hand it up with you, Coach Mitchell. I created a metaphor, maybe a decade ago, that I started using to help people just cement this idea of action. And I called it the deaf judge. And it's a simple idea. A lot of people can resonate with it. And when I think about it, it keeps me on point. And all it is this. There's an invisible person standing next to your bed when you wake up in the morning. He's been standing there watching you. He cannot hear, but he can see everything, and he has a photographic memory. And all day long, he just follows you around. He can't hear anything you say. So when you get up in the morning and you talk about all the great things you're going to do and all these things that come, he can't hear what you're talking about, but he can watch what you do. And he's writing down notes on everything you do. All day long, he sits what you do, what you sit down, what you eat, what you go to work, what you're doing. He just watches your activity. And then until you go to bed at night. Now, here's the question, and here's going to be a powerful, this might adjust somebody's moment right now. If that deaf judge have followed you all day long today, or all week long, not just today, but all week long, and they read through all of their notes of what they took on you, and then they had to go to the council of judges that could grant anybody's wish they wanted. And when the council of judges looked at the one that followed you around all week, and they said, okay, what does this person want to be? Who does this person want to be? What does this person want in their life? Who do they want to become? What should we grant them? Here's the question. If they read would the deaf judge know what to tell them? You should need to let that sink in. Would the deaf judge know what to tell the council of judges you want, deserve, or trying to get, but solely based on your actions and activity that they could see and record? So hopefully that helps some people realize what we mean by taking the inside, connecting it to something beyond your physical boundaries and making it actionable. But Coach Mitchell, we know these simple ideas are life-changing. We know this. We've not only experienced it some of ourselves, but we've seen it happen dozens, in your case, hundreds, if not thousands of times. So I'm going to let you kind of share some. I'm looking at the clock, and we try to keep you under half an hour. We're doing a great job tonight, by the way. But I'm going to hand this over to you and let you just kind of summarize anything on any points we kind of covered tonight. Anything you think might help somebody one more person, man. If we can get one more person just to make that decision that tonight is the night, right now is the time that they push that button to make a change, I'm going to let you have a go at it.
Well, man, I tell you, I love that judge, man. That really reminded me of a little saying that I used to have, Earl, that was so true. And, especially when we're talking about building a Meta Life business and utilizing New Earth. And that is, if everyone in my business was just like me, what kind of business would it be? Right? So it's always, it's like that was a theme song, man, that I've always played in my head to really look at what actions am I taking on a daily basis. And, I mean, this is simple stuff, but it's the things that me and you do, why we connect so well, is because every day there is a plan. Every day there is an outcome, an intention that I set to accomplish. And so I don't let a day go by without allowing that to really come into reality. And the last thing I want to say, and then I'll turn it over to Connie to close, but the last thing I really want to say is really look around, and you said it so clearly, Earl, and I so agree. And it's like, who are you hanging out with? Who are you associating with? And, who are you masterminding with? And I remember there were times in my life when I didn't have people to mastermind with, so I did like Napoleon Hill talked about and Think and Grow Rich. I had my own mastermind with imaginary people who I looked up to, that I knew that, these are people that I wanted to emulate. These are people who made a difference in the world, that I wanted to take on their qualities. I wanted to take on their qualities of excellence. And the one thing that I wanted more than anything else to do was to be of service and to leave a legacy that I know that because I was here, somewhere along the line, I got used as an instrument that can make a difference. So this is a great call, really, and glad that we had the opportunity to do it. And Connie, any closing thoughts, anything that we left out that we need to touch on?
No, but awesome call. I don't know what you would have left out, but a couple of things that came to mind. And that deaf judge, I will agree with both of you. That's a powerful concept. I remember hearing that, 8 years ago, I think, from Earl. And what I remember doing then, and I still do it now, is it creates a real visual. And, it goes in pretty much hand in hand with the saying of, actions speak louder than words. I mean, that's what that whole thing means. But from start to finish, when I found myself one day just kind of rearranging my papers, and I'm thinking, well, I thought immediately of that deaf judge. So what is that? What is that showing? That doesn't show anything, arranging papers. So I got on the phone, and I, just made some calls, but that's a really good visual to and a great exercise to put yourself through. But a couple other things, that you guys touched on is, of course, the mediocrity, and when folks do things in moderation, that is not what people in the meta life do. I mean, they are not. It's massive action. I mean, moderation is not going to. That's the status quo. That's not going to get people where they want to be. So, a lot of what is talked about is tonight was really powerful concepts, and hopefully everyone grasped what the meaning was between even talking about lack of control and man, I know when I feel very much in control, very much on point, and that might include from starting the day, exercise, diet, eating right, and it just kind of transfers into my work, and really feeling control, feeling good. I mean, people become unstoppable when they have that feel good kind of, when they feel good about where they're going, in their day. And, anyway, I am sure you guys would agree with that. So I, just, and just, thoughts become reality. Things that you think, put in your mind, they do become reality or can become reality. And it's all about perception. I think, Earl, you talked about that a little bit. Perception, talking about the, just different things that you do, what they mean in your day. And, we all do have the same, as you suggested, we have the same everything. We've got the same air. We've got the same administration in the government. We've got the same everything. But it is perception of where you can take it, and positive and negative, and that enters into it as well. But great call, and hopefully everyone pull something away. I don't know how you couldn't pull something away from this call, if not many tidbits, and we're looking forward to next week's call. And again, tune in, because it's always different subject matter that's covered. So have a great evening, everyone, and take care.
Okay. Good night. Thanks, Connie. Thanks, Earl.
Good night.